guys, what's going on? This is Damian Forrester with eXp Realty here. I am with Debbie Suskojus. Is that right? Did I
That
get
is
it right?
correct.
Yay! All right, Debbie, thank you so much for meeting with me here. You are, and I'm really excited, very proud sponsor of what we're doing with the Montana Summit this February in 2026 coming up. So I wanted to get to know you. I wanted to get to know your business, and I wanted to get to know your company. So, Debbie, let's make this easy. All right. So before we talk about title or anything, tell us a little bit about you outside of work, and I want to know that last name. Where is that last name coming from?
Well, my maiden name was Collins.
Okay.
And so in 1980, I decided to marry Ken Suskojus. And so I inherited his name. And yeah, so I went from Collins to alphabet name.
Oh,
So yeah.
that's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So what, like, outside of work, you're hanging out. What do you do?
Gosh, I really love my work. That's the hard thing. When I'm not working, I'm thinking about work.
Oh,
And I know that sounds really kind of silly. I like to cook. And someday when I resign, if ever, I would like to learn how to garden and maybe do some canning. I don't know. I like to paint. I like to paint.
painting, canning. That's awesome.
But I do really love what I do. I have the greatest job ever.
Well, cool. Let's talk about what you do. All right. So you're with Title Financial Corporation. Is that right?
Title Financial Corporation, and so we're a holding company, and we have different. We own and operate title companies in 77 different counties in Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. And I am fortunate enough or blessed enough, I run our sales and marketing division for the company.
Okay, before we get there, how'd you get into the world of title? I mean,
Oh my gosh,
the title company?
that is so funny. Oh, if we have just a few minutes, I'll tell you a little, I'll do my journey.
Let's go.
Because it's so crazy. Back in the early 80s, my husband and I, and we were super young and dumb, we bought a gas station, restaurant, and a convenience store in Livingston, Montana. And we ran that for about 8 years, and I ran the restaurant piece of it. And I would always watch these real estate agents pull in nice cars, beautifully dressed, where I smelled like hamburgers and French fries, right? And I got to talking with them, and I really was intrigued with what they did. And I remember Ernie Meter is in Livingston. I think Ernie's still around. He said, you should be really selling real estate instead of hamburgers. And so sure enough, I hauled my happy little Fanny to Missoula and went to Knoll Morton back in 1992.
That's where I got mine. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I just was fascinated with the whole process. And so I did go to work. I worked for Century 21 and Prudential out of Bozeman. And then and sold real estate. And then I also did recruiting and managing. And one of the things that I realized with real estate is it's hard.
It is.
Selling real estate is very hard, and I knew that I had to learn how to sell real estate. And I studied like a maniac, and I really learned a couple of things. I was thinking about this morning. I learned two things. I learned how to listen to people, because every situation is very different. And I learned that God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, use them in proportion.
Right.
So I did. I really learned how to listen. And then I got into, kind of managing, and I realized that salespeople don't know how to sell. They really don't. They talk too much and they don't listen to the customer. And so I got into training and coaching. I went to Prudential Real Estate Academy in Connecticut, and I also went to their session in LA and was trained as basically a certified business planning person for real estate.
Oh,
loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really loved helping see good sale, and I still do. That's what I do now, is help our salespeople really do well. And then in 2001, I had the opportunity to go into mortgage lending. And so for the next 10 years, I cut my teeth in that world, and I loved that even more than real estate. I really liked the lending piece of it. Well, 2009, 2008, 7, 8, 9, the world just the
Yeah.
world crashed,
Went
and
upside
I'll
down.
tell you, I mean, it was awful. I hope we never ever have to go through anything like that again. But I learned a lot, and I had the title company reach out. A recruiter out of Boise reached out to me and said, "How'd you like to, manage a title company?"
Oh, wow.
And I said, I don't even really read my commitments. I don't know if I should put that on the video. But, we have underwriters and processors, and we have people that cover that piece of it for us. And so she told me that it came with a paycheck, and I said, I'm in, because at that time, it was really hard to get any kind of loan punched through with that foreclosure, everything that was going on. So it stuck. That was back in 2010. And I've been with the company ever since. I did manage our title company in Bozeman for 6 years, I think 6 or 7 years. And then I've now been in my position for 10 years.
10
So
years.
it's been a lovely journey. It really has been,
Oh,
I still am neck deep in real estate, still kind of familiar with the lending world. And I really admire, Damian, I admire the real estate companies that really put a lot of effort into training
oh,
their
yeah.
people. And with your technology, I love the tech piece that you have. You and I think, met probably 10 years ago
Yeah.
in Billings, 10 or 11 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a long time. And, when companies really put that kind of focus on helping real estate agents succeed, I like that. I
Yeah.
really like that.
Well, I tell you, wow. First of all, it seems like you've been in this real estate industry, what, 20 years now or more, right? I mean,
30, isn't
30
it
years. Holy wow.
1992 or 1993 until now? I'm old.
You don't look it. You look good.
Old. I'm like a grandma. I tell people that. They'll ask me, how do you know that? Because I'm a grandma. I know everything.
So you did the title, you did the lending, you did the real estate. I mean, it created something here, this journey that you've taken to be who you are today. And you're right, sales is difficult. People don't understand when they get into real estate. It's not only sales, it's marketing, it's relationships, it's branding, it's being a therapist, it's being every little thing. And you've been through that, which makes you the amazing person you actually are.
Oh,
Okay, so thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
so let's get into a little education here, and explain to me as if I'm a 12-year-old. Okay, so for someone buying and selling a home in Montana for the first time, what does a title company actually do?
Yeah, it's really funny. The title companies, when the orders are sent in to the title company, really that's where they go to work. They take that accepted buy sell agreement signed by all parties, has to be fully executed, and then two separate silos really start moving.
Okay.
We have title. The title departments, they really have, I like to explain it this way. This is how I would talk to new employees.
Please, like I'm a 12-year-old.
Title is dirt,
Okay.
and escrow is money.
Oh,
So if we have a title question, if we have access, I just got off the phone, Damian, when you called this morning, I was on the phone with somebody who's afraid they have lack of access, and so that is definitely title. I got to rely on my title folks, right? I got to lean on them, and I really need to have faith in knowing that they know what they're doing. And then on the other side is escrow. So escrow is they're the folks that make sure all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, the balancing. They're taking, really, the escrow people, it's like they're taking a 500-piece puzzle and you're dumping it on their desk, and then they've got to put all those pieces and parts in place so that the transaction can move to closing.
okay.
Escrow also clears title. So if there are title issues that are coming up on, right as soon as possible, the escrow team will start working to clear those.
Okay. Wow. And they work hand in hand. I mean, I'm assuming they're all in the same place, or is a lot of any of this
You know,
virtual?
the cool thing about us is that we're networked together, so we are able to move work around if we need to, still within our company. But yeah, for the most part, our folks are in the offices. We have both title and escrow folks in the offices.
So you mentioned you were holding part of the holding company, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what are the names of the title companies within that?
Yeah, so the primary market we have is Flying S Title and Escrow,
Okay,
and
guys.
that's the majority of the offices. And then we have insured titles, and insured is in Missoula, and then up in the Flathead. So the Flathead, we've got Kalispell, Big Fork, and Whitefish.
Okay.
And then we have Helena Abstract and Title. So Bill Gowan, the Gowans owned the Helena Abstract. We just merged with them maybe a year ago ish. And
Wow.
then just Monday, yay us, we actually merged with Montana Title and Escrow. I think it's
Wow.
Montana Abstract Title and Escrow. Anyway, the other company in Silver Bow County in Butte.
Holy
And so we now have two offices right now in the Silver Bow County. So yeah.
growth. My goodness.
Yeah, so
Congratulations.
we are growing and family owned. We can talk about that in a little bit, but I have learned so much in the 15 years with the title company. And I think we typically think of title companies as being a little bit boring. I know I did, you know, and it's not. Oh my gosh, it's fascinating every single day.
That brings me up to my question. So what are something Montana title companies do more specific than any other state? Is there any things that someone coming from California or New York or something and they're like ready to close their property? Is there something that Montana does differently than any other state?
I'm sure probably. So Montana, Idaho were non-disclosure states. So the sellers and the buyers close separately, and there isn't. I can't see what you sold your house for, Damian. You
Right,
can't see what I sold my house for.
right,
Other than the real estate agents, the realtors can see that. But
right.
in other states, I think they're not non-disclosure, and
Yeah.
so they do know what their neighbor paid.
Can you
Uh,
imagine sitting across from the seller and you're the buyer and you're doing paperwork together?
yeah,
I
we don't do that here.
I can't. Yeah. So that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if
What? I think in all my years in real estate, I've only ever seen that happen one time, where the buyer and the seller actually wanted to close together, which
I have a great relationship with and a great transactions.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if someone were to skip the title insurance, I mean, or doesn't understand what could go wrong? I mean,
Oh, just
let's
a
say
phone
I'm
call.
like, I want to buy a home, yay, but I'm gonna sell it to my
Oh my
uncle's
gosh.
friend, and we just sign some papers. All right, it's yours.
Missing heirs. I've seen that where there's a knock on the door and it's the nephew of the grandmother that passed away that, they sold it without him and he was actually should have. Yeah, so missing heirs, illegal deeds. Right now, with seller impersonation fraud still being a real big deal, how does a buyer know that they're actually buying from the owner of the property?
Right.
There's so many things. Um,
My goodness.
Forgeries, fraud and forgery are huge. I was just on the phone with a friend of mine who purchased a property with cash
Uh-huh.
in 2017, and he's trying to get a transaction to buy another property, and there might be a lack of access. So he called me and I said, "Did you get title insurance when you bought it?" And he said, "Thankfully, yes, I did." So I just got a hold of his paperwork, his owner's policy, the easements, the plats, and just sent that to him and said, "Hey, see if this will help you." So there's
Like,
so many
yeah, it's like
things.
insurance. I mean, it's like anything else. It's
It
something
is.
you have to do.
Yeah,
That
well, and you don't need it until you need it.
right.
But when you're sitting on $1 million piece of property, and if you think about it, people buy the lot for 200,000, and then they build, which this friend of mine did. He's built a big, beautiful lakefront property, and now he wants to pull some cash out of that to purchase something else. And what is so if he would have just done a good old boys thing, he
Yeah.
would seriously be in trouble.
Gosh, that's crazy. All right,
Yeah.
let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about this whole relationship that you have with lenders and realtors. So, what would make a good relationship? I mean, what are you expecting from a lender and a realtor like myself to make things go smooth?
Communication is
Mhm.
truly the foundation of getting transactions done together. And if we it's that's an interesting question, Damian. I was thinking about this, just this week, that a lot of people in the real estate business we're used to pretty much swinging a cat and being able to do some business, honestly.
Right, right, right.
And we're used to, and speaking for the real estate agents, but title companies and lenders as well, we really didn't have to work that hard at getting transactions done. I mean, we had plenty of sellers, plenty of buyers with cash, or, lending was pretty easy until, within the last few years. And now it's entirely different, and it's more difficult.
Mm,
The underwriting guidelines are more difficult for the lenders. I mean, it's not like you can fog a mirror and get a loan anymore. I mean,
right,
they're a lot more cautious, having gone through 2007, 8, 2009. They don't want to foreclose on those properties. They don't. The phone call I was just on, the friends of mine are trying to buy a short sale. If you have ever been through a short sale transaction, they are seriously difficult. And so just the communication, allowing enough time to get the transactions closed. It used to be that title companies, lenders could, you fog a mirror, get a loan, go sign at the title company, and off we go. And that's just no longer the case. And so when things are, I would say that when the real estate agents are putting their transactions together, try to understand the transaction and what you'll be asking of the lenders and of the title companies. Just because it can be done quickly, just
right.
because it can, doesn't mean we should. And when things are forced, it really can, mistakes are made and things get missed. And so taking the heat off of, put together a good transaction in the beginning, and then allow enough time to get the transaction completed. Really important.
Right. So, on top of that, great answer, by the way. Yeah, I absolutely believe everything you just said because I figure, and for me in the real estate world, if I'm dealing with a client, you want to educate that client and help them have enough great communication with you in the beginning so you can have a smoother transaction
Absolutely.
as and help them understand, hey, we're gonna may have some some bumps in the road, but this is what we're gonna do to get through them, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, great answer. All right, so let's talk about some big myths about what people believe about title or escrow. I mean, when I first got into business, I'm like, well, why do we need them? I'm like, what?
I know. Well, me too.
Why do we need them? But I think you answered a lot of it already. But are there any big myths about title and escrow? People are like, well, I just think they just do this or whatever.
Oh my gosh. Having come from the real estate side
Yeah.
and from the lending side, and then managing, and I was fortunate. I had employees in Bozeman.
Right.
They actually had run title companies. So they had a lot of experience. And I didn't need to have a lot of experience in title and escrow because my company has that support for me.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I've never seen people work harder to get transactions closed on time. We used to have a saying, close on time and never close ugly. close on time and never close ugly. And then you get into, a difficult period of time, the foreclosure market. That's when I cut my teeth in title. And it's hard. I think that from the outside looking in, you think that they just take the contract, punch in numbers, spits out a commitment.
Right.
You show up to closing, sign your papers, and voila, there's a commission check, on your desk at the end of the day. And it's hard. It is. I've seen escrow officers literally break down in tears because they are so exhausted. And I mean, they have to balance files to the penny. And it's even harder now since TRID, came into play. It's just made things a lot more difficult on it than it used to be in the past. Yeah. And so they don't just, pop numbers in and spits out a commitment, pop numbers in. Right. I mean, these people really are pen to the paper.
Right.
On the title side, they are looking at every single recorded document. They're comparing signatures and notary blocks. They're looking at, the pages. I've seen, we put something in for recording and then all of a sudden page, 7 out of a deed of trust is missing from the loan package that they got from the lender. Uh-huh. And so there's all this back end things that come up that it's everybody's eyes on to make sure that those transactions close perfectly.
Well, I had firsthand experience with that 2 days ago with in Red Lodge. You guys have an amazing group over there. So I was on the phone because my people had to close, and this was 2 days ago, and they were like, "We need to get those keys in there," and the lender was having a hard time balancing. Well, no, I'll name names. She's amazing, Sherry. She, had a hard time balancing. I was on the phone for an hour on silence listening to figure out what the heck, what's going on here. And the way she handled it and got that lender to get things, because you're right, you have to get it precise. Those numbers have to balance on the buyer side, lender side, the credits and the debits. Everything. I was like, there is a lot going on here. So,
and Sherry is one of the best.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Personality, she handled it very professional. So kudos to her. And I'm assuming that is how you guys are throughout. So thank you. So
the culture is important.
So we're having our Montana Real Estate Summit coming up here February 19th to the 21st in Fairmont. And so you are a sponsor there. So I want to say thank you very much. And hopefully you'll be there maybe. I don't know.
I am planning on it. Yes. I need to make my reservations. I think there's going to be 2 or 3 of us cool. And I love that you let us hang out with you. A lot of sponsorships, they say you don't get to, we that's how we grow relationships. And we appreciate you guys.
Oh, absolutely. So what do you expect and hope agents and lenders and consumers to walk away with, after that day for the summit?
Ask me that again, Damian.
So, I mean, you're going to be there. We're going to give you some time to talk. What are you hoping to have the agents and lenders walk away with that are going to be there to better understand who you are and your company?
I think the most important thing that I could say right now is just walking away and have an understanding of who we are, Flying S Title and Escrow, and we are celebrating our 120th year as a family-owned company. If you go on to titlefc.com, and that's the holding company, but if you go there, there's a great celebration video. Damian, I'm hoping we can maybe show that video. It's a really short video, but it really does show our family, our culture. Family first for us. It's just an incredible team that we work with. We have title plants, a lot of companies, a lot of our competitors that are moving in to Montana primarily, they don't have a title plant. So they're not searching as deeply as what we can. Our title plants go back to
I hate to cut you off. Here's the deal, though. That's the first time we've talked about a title plant. What is a title plant?
Oh my gosh, I can send you pictures. If you go to our office, I'll use Lewis and Clark County.
Uh,
If you go to our office, and we have Helena Abstract and Title and Flying S Title and Escrow. We are the only companies in Lewis and Clark County with a title plant. Same in Gallatin County. Probably Billings, First Montana, probably. Anyway, those records go clear back to patent. If you have the opportunity to go to our office in Helena, if you go down into the basement, there are rooms and rooms and rooms of files on every transaction that they have done. I mean, it's just incredible. And now most all of our counties now have been scanned, and we have online access.
wow.
Not online, but we have an intranet plant. I'm not saying that very well. We have a digital title plant, which allows us to work remotely if we need to.
Right.
If we need to move work
all
around.
smart files are now taken and digitized.
Digital, yep. And so I mean, it's incredible. If they're just searching online, it's my understanding, for example, in Lewis and Clark County, they may only go back 30 or 40 years.
Wow.
This is a really fun example. It's not really, but it kind of is funny. I heard one of our title officers talking about this in a class, and they said, think about it. You get your property profile, which I'm assuming every really sharp real estate agent does at the time of listing. And that includes the current deed, current mortgage, the GIS, so the cadastral, plat, taxes, and the covenants, CC&Rs. Well, and that's current.
Yeah.
If there is a deed restriction from 1920 on a property that allows cattle to be moved in the spring and in the fall, you sell a piece of property and the title company only goes back to 40 years, they're not going to know that. So your buyers build this big, beautiful house on their property, and then all of a sudden in the fall, here comes this herd of cattle tromping through their beautifully manicured lawn and garden. And so that's the importance of a title plant, is they've got to go back and look at all of that stuff.
Wow.
I know.
So for those that don't want to use a title company,
think twice and use a local. Ask the
Yeah.
title companies, do you have a title plant? And if you do, and ask them to show you.
Yeah.
It's incredible when you really do look at a true title plant.
It doesn't matter if it's a mobile on a piece of land or it's just McMansion or whatever. I mean, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's wrap this up. If anybody wanted to get a hold of you, need more information, based on everything that we talked about. Ooh, I'm blurry right now. How would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can send email to customercare@fste.com or customercare@titlefc.com. Those email, I monitor all of that, and so those come directly to me. You can also reach out to our local businesses. Damian, I do have to say one thing. We have done 711 transactions year to date with EXP. Nearly 500 of those are in Montana.
Wow.
And I just love doing business with, the EXP folks. And of course, other companies too.
Yeah.
But I like to look and see, okay, what kind of business are we doing together? And we're doing some business together. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, absolutly. Well, thank you for the education.
For sure.
As long as I've been in the business 20 years, I learned something today. And that's us in our business, right?
Yeah, I'm happy. That's what makes this industry fun, is we're learning something new every day.
Yeah. Well,
Damian, thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, and look forward to seeing you in February at the event. And if there's anything you guys ever need or have any questions, definitely reach out to me also.
Absolutely. Love it.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Stay blessed, lady. Talk to you later.
Thank you.